Hi, Meetu. How are you?
Hi, Shilpa. I'm great. Always happy to see you.
Um, so today we're gonna get the perspective of an actor, and I guess we had met over the years just through the South Asian community, and then we became better friends when you were working on Cirque du Soleil. So Meetu used to sing and dance and act and sing upside down while floating in the air and stuff like that. So
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
so when Diwal'Oween came around, I was like, oh, she has that little witchy thing going on from Cirque du Soleil. And then we were in this Kalakar South Asian film lab. So every week we would workshop different scripts with different actors and writers and directors. So that was another place where people could work out new material and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So how did you get into acting? Where did you grow up and what influenced you? Maybe those are three questions, actually.
I grew up in northern New Jersey, kind of close to Wayne in a town called Franklin Lakes. The houses were really far apart, and it was a large Jewish population, but there was a small Indian community as well. I sang kirtan at the Gurdwara, and so singing really started there. And then I wanted to learn get more Western technique, and I so I found a voice teacher nearby. That voice teacher just ended up being a jazz teacher, and so my the like base of my singing really is more jazz based.
Hmm.
And then in school, I just got involved in show choir and the middle school musical, and then it was just plays and musicals after that. And then in high school, I just was in that world so much that I applied to NYU Tisch on a whim when I was supposed to be a doctor.
Of course.
And yeah, of course, duh. When I got in, I was like, it was just I couldn't pass it up, so I decided to go.
Yeah, I also grew up in Jersey and all the school plays and all that stuff. And then kids would also audition. They would go after school and audition for shows on Broadway
Hmm.
or TV shows and stuff like that. So that's like one of the advantages of also having a big South Asian community. Like you weren't an anomaly, really. There were a lot of
Yeah, did you have a big South Asian community around you?
Yeah, definitely. Like we had
Oh, okay.
Garba and Bharatnatyam and all those things. Yeah.
So there was just like a couple families in my neighborhood,
Mhm.
and so the aunties would have like the Bharatanatyam in their house, and the kids would all come together and learn there, and it was a nice community. I think there's a lot more now,
Yeah.
um, which is so nice to see that there's so much more support for
Yeah.
kids to feel good about their culture.
And
It doesn't have to be so
also,
divided.
yeah. And also I think my parents had Sikh friends and Muslim friends and all types of like South Indian friends, North
Hmm.
Indian
Hmm.
friends. I guess we had a pretty diverse group even within the South Asian community.
Yeah, yeah. There's so many parts of India. Um,
Yeah.
it's nice to see the micro communities and everyone kind of come together. And the Diwali parties would definitely be one of those times where everyone would come together and have big parties and, you know, you scope out who the cuties are.
And and so how did you bring all those things together in your own music and your own projects?
Sure. I felt like I was automatically considered to be either like multi-ethnic or brown or some sort of Indian. Um, to be honest, like Diwali was one of the few times a year where I felt like I was connecting to other Indian communities, but my childhood was mostly specifically Sikh, Punjabi, like the world. Every weekend was at the Gurdwara, so and I feel like I actually connected more with other Indians in college because I was going out for these nondescript Indian roles, and I felt like I needed to know what all of that meant, and that maybe I was too hyper specific. And then a lot of times I would get like, "Oh, you don't look Indian enough," and
Oh,
I'm like,
really?
"Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah," all the time. I'd be like, "Oh." What are you? Are you Hispanic? Are you Middle Eastern? No. No. And also just being in New York City. It was really nice being in a super diverse place and meeting other people in the Desi community in general to connect with in the arts. And that's how my original music kind of came to be. I mean, I would say my singing styles were pretty separate. Like I had like a jazz trio, and then I would sing my kirtan otherwise. And then when I was around the Indian community more, the Indian artistic community more in New York is when they kind of came together, and I started playing with that more. And the more that I did it, the more that I realized, oh, there's a way for all of my worlds to come together and be.
Mhm.
And actually that, and then once I started doing that, I presented that to someone actually that's not Indian was like, this sounds like Cirque du Soleil. This
Oh,
sounds like Cirque
really?
du Soleil music. And I was like, well, why not? So I actually just like, yeah, I just put my CD together and all this stuff and I just sent it to them. And I was like, hey,
Oh, nice.
and they got back to me. And that's how I got cast in the first show that I did in Kusa,
Nice.
because they needed someone who specifically had some like Indian appoggiatura, like vocalies in their voice. And I did it. And it was super fun. I did two different shows. The second one wasn't really about anything Indian related. Like I feel
Okay.
like that was kind of my foot in the door. And then the second show, the one that I was hanging upside down, was it was like seven different characters in one show. It was actually acting and singing intensive. Three octaves, so many different styles of singing, physically demanding because of the acrobatic work we had to do while we're singing that, but then also character work, very, very specific, different characters for each
Mhm.
scene. That is my favorite job. That show, Arcana, was my favorite job. Plus to be at Radio City performing
Yeah.
for 6,000 people every night was a dream. But yeah, like 11 shows a week was demanding. There wasn't really room for much else.
So then how do you like, is there a particular type of direction that you like to work with, or how do you develop your characters? Like you're talking about, what kind of work do you do as an actor for that preparation?
I think it depends on how I connect to the role. Sometimes it comes from the outside in, like I'll work on a physicality first, or like because I'm a singer, a lot of the times it'll be the voice or the sound of the character. I do a lot of voiceover as well. So as I'm reading a script and the sound comes out, and I'll be playing with what voice that is, and then work in the physicality. And then other times it'll be more of an internal thing if it like really connects to something that I've experienced, and calling on that and figuring out like what the history of the character is. It depends on how fantastical the character is. Like the more fantastical ones, like the Cirque du Soleil ones, that is more of an outside in thing.
Hmm.
But something like Diwal'Oween or more film work is more like inside out, where I want to fully understand where this character is coming from, where they're going, who the people in their world are, and like what really motivates them.
Yeah, and then because we may have a lot of students watching, just generally like you're taught to direct giving actions and different techniques to get an actor to connect to their memories, for example, to bring that authenticity out of into the role.
I studied the Strasbourg technique, and it relies on sense memory and recall and relaxation. And I would say it's a it's something that we take for granted. There's a lot of talk about meditation nowadays, but that's a big part of it, is really just like dropping in. You feel it, you know. You have to be off the page and stuff. You can't be worrying about the technical things like that. Like you have to just like know who the character is and let it drop in. And you can only be open to that if you're relaxed and in a place to be open.
Yeah.
So
And then do you have any preference, like comedy or drama or musicals or any particular type of genre that you like to work with?
I love comedy. It's really hard but I love it. It's so fun, especially if you have someone that you can like ping pong with.
Hmm.
Like for instance, like, Saurabh and I already have
Yeah.
a relationship, and so anytime we're working on something, it's so easy to just have that back and forth and that energy and that just like timing with someone, the bickering, if you will. I just did a monsoon wedding at St. Anne's, and my scene partner, Jonathan Raviv, was like a dream to work with. Like, people would be like, okay, are you guys really married? Like, what's going on? No, he has a husband and a child, and I have a husband and a child. Like, no, but to have a partner that can just like you feel that connected to, I think adds so much to the comedy and timing and the things that people, I mean, for drama as well, but I think it's easier to be connected more to yourself.
Yeah, and the best part about comedy, like every time I would reopen the cut, I would laugh, even if I had to go make some detailed edits or something like that. You end up laughing the whole time, so that's pretty fun. So in terms of like the process, so I guess the script was written a year ahead, then we workshopped it at the lab, and then almost a year later we did the first round of auditions. So I guess I cast you and then brought you in for the reads with Abir, who the character who ended up being Abir Khan,
Yeah.
the kid, and then also for Bobby, who ended up being Swan Gruen. So
Hmm.
in that process, also if any lines or jokes came out, I ended up giving the actors credit for that. So yeah, so that was another process of like getting to know the characters better through the rehearsal process and seeing where the chemistry was. And
Hmm.
then we weren't still finding Manveer or Bobby. Like I wanted an authentic Sikh actor of the right age and also who had a
How
comedy.
did you end up finding him?
Yeah, so I was like interviewing all these people and then I didn't want to do a wig and all that weird stuff. And Vinny had worked with him on something and then we shot a short with him before this, like 6 months earlier. And he had also worked with Swan, the camera guy, on another project. So his first day on set, he was nervous, but that like eased the tension, basically. Yeah.
He was pretty good. Was that
Yeah,
that was
people
his
love him and every time we
that was
see.
his second?
Yeah. I mean, he had
He's
done,
really good.
yeah, he had done mostly stand up. And then Swan also had to be someone who was like comedic, romantic, and creepy to sell the storyline.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I was
Hmm.
finding like either one or the other. Like we auditioned probably 50 people, and there were either soap opera people or stand-ups or just really weird type of people. So that was again through word of mouth. Nina had worked with him through the Amy Schumer's Collective, so she had
Nina
recommended.
Mehta.
Yeah.
Hmm. Love her.
So then
Hmm.
I gave both of them a casting credit too, because basically people were referred through them who ended up getting cast.
Oh, that's great. You're
Yeah.
so generous like that, giving people the credit they deserve. It's so
Yeah.
nice.
Were there any challenges for you with the project, or were there any challenges at all?
Mm, were there any challenges? I remember just having a really good time, and I remember like the crew was so awesome. I don't remember the challenges. Maybe I had too
Okay.
much of a good time. Sorry. I'm
Well,
like,
that's good, I guess.
I had a good time because I guess learning the Ross, because
Oh,
I never danced that before, and I was like, oh God, I hope I do this right.
we had a Garba Ross scene, is what she's talking about. And
Yeah.
in that, there were also a couple of jokes, like you and your mom, and then you and your boyfriend's mother had a different relationship. So we
Yeah.
need to
Yeah.
work it into the choreography.
Yeah. Long days are always exhausting, but when you're doing something fun that you love, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, like I don't have anything much to complain about. It's like
And
all the
it's like
stuff. It's
a
part of the job.
blessing
It's
to
part
be
of the
on
job.
set half the time.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it's so hard to
exactly. The
pull
fact that
everything
we're
together.
yeah, the fact that we're there at that point is a total blessing.
Yeah. And also like often the actors set the tone and it's ironic, like people like you are not a diva on set or something, but sometimes like people the more established people are not, and then the people who are less known are like, oh, divas or something. Like
Mhm.
the actors totally set the tone and the good actors know that they're doing that. So
Yeah, I mean, it was a total like ensemble feeling, and like everyone was there to just make it work and do it. So I didn't feel like there was no divas.
yeah.
Everyone was just there to get it good, like just like really like let's just play. Let's just play.
And then afterwards you actually did get married and now you have a child. So a lot happened since then.
Yeah, I got married, and I have a 2.5-year-old now. He'll be 3 in January. And it's a blast. This will be his first time actually trick-or-treating.
Ooh.
I'm gonna take him to the suburbs because, New York City trick-or-treating is not the same as the walking to the houses in the suburbs. We'll probably do both, but I want him to like know what that's like. To just be like, walk up to the door, tick, tick, tick. He's gonna be a fire truck,
Oh,
and I'm gonna
nice.
be fire, and my husband's gonna be a fire hydrant.
Nice.
Last year he was Cookie Monster and we were cookies.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Well,
he
I
was a
went
little
to
too little.
Indian Statue of Liberty to the mayor's party, so
Oh, was it a Halloween party?
no, but they invited me because of Diwal'Oween, so I wore a green sari, and then I was like, what can I do with this?
That's
And I
awesome.
got
I
the
love
light. The
that.
light is Diwali too.
Oh my God, Shilpa, I love that. With the sari. Oh my God, that's so great. Send me pictures.
Yeah. Oh, so how did you get into the union and how do you keep booking work for people who are just starting out?
I got into the union on a SAG commercial for Verizon my freshman year of college, and Serena Jane of Masala Bhangra was casting it because,
Oh, really?
yeah, yeah. And Pooja Kumar was in it too, and like that's how I got my SAG card, just one commercial.
Serena
Yeah.
Jane, I used to go to her Masala Bhangra class at Crunch, and I had to shoot a short film. I was doing the NYU summer program, and so I cast her as a Bollywood dream queen.
How
She was
fun.
in my first short film.
Wow. I just saw her the other day actually at Fashion Week. Tina Tandon was in New York Fashion Week
Oh,
because
nice.
yeah. And so we went to support and see her line, and Serena was there, and we connected after years and years. So yeah, she's bringing Masala Bungar to New York City public schools now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, super cool. Um, what did you ask me? How do I keep booking work? Honestly, network, network, network. Most of the work I've gotten, even the Cirque du Soleil, even Monsoon Wedding, like I've gotten because of referrals and friends and network and just being out there. The agent route and the traditional route hasn't worked for me as well as just doing work and showing work and having people speak up for me. And I like working on things that are of the diaspora, new works. It's a like this is how we're gonna build our visibility by supporting each other and creating new works about our
Yeah.
community. So that's actually my favorite thing to work on.
Are you affected by the SAG strike that's going on, or?
Yeah, everything's super slow. Life keeps happening. So I'm just focusing on the life thing with the kid and the house and whatever in the meantime. So still busy. Yeah. The voiceovers and stuff are definitely a little slower. Hopefully we'll come through soon.
Yeah, I totally agreed because they've dismantled the whole revenue system, and even we're impacted by it as a small project. And we actually signed those same new media agreements a couple of years ago. So it's become harder to get a sale, but it's like I want to pay everybody, royalties and all that stuff. So I didn't understand like companies that are in that position why they wouldn't want to,
I
it's
don't know. It's
greedy.
so like how do you expect people to survive?
Exactly.
This is, if you want a professional level work where you actually go and learn your craft and do the thing and know the thing and make your set life smooth. It costs you less money to have people that know what they're doing, but they need to get paid. Otherwise, they're not going to do it anymore.
Yeah,
Right? Then you're not going to have those people.
exactly.
So
So have you been going to the picket lines and stuff? I went to a few of them.
I haven't had a chance. Yeah. I've been bombarded with home stuff, but
Yeah.
rallying from home.
And now you're working on your own projects, you said?
Mm-hmm.
So how's
Working. I've also like I minored in producing. Produce things every now and then, theater, a lot, theater in the beginning and some film and music videos, and now I'm back to producing more film, music supervising as well. Supervised and co-produced a film last year called Land of Gold, which was at Tribeca, and it won the AT&T Untold Stories Award. It's on Max now. You can
Oh,
watch it now. And then I just music supervised a short film executive produced by Spike Lee, and I am about to music supervise another film. And I am also working on a documentary, a very personal documentary about the community and the significance of hair in our community and how it's really kind of the avenue for exploring tradition in our lives, and how much we are going to pass on.
that was one of the reasons why I wanted authentic actors from the various communities, because especially after 9/11, it was very controversial. And even casting the kids, we were finding a lot of Latino kids who probably look the part but may not relate. And there actually aren't that many South Asian kids, although now there's so much more visibility and so many shows. Challenging still. There are only
Still now?
3 or 4. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's still either people are not aware and sending their kids out for stuff, or whatever the problem is. There's still not as many as you would think.
I think it is important because there's nuances that make the community that that person is representing feel seen.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, a beer, he says, Nino Masi, like that's even just the way that he says that is like, you, like, that
Yeah.
that sound of those words and the way that it's said and the like, I some people will say, well, if you're an actor, you're an actor. And I don't,
Right.
I think if we can, we need to work a little bit harder to find people from the communities, also so that they get an opportunity.
Yeah.
This is the way it's going to happen, right? Like this was
Yeah.
his second film,
Yeah,
and
and then
he's doing a
he ended
great
up getting
job.
cast on Mr. Robot, and he was on Hassan Minaj's show and a bunch of other
Yeah,
stuff.
that's how we're going to support each other, by giving each other opportunities when it's available. So thank you, Shilpa,
Oh, you're
for
welcome.
doing the hard work to help that happen.
Yeah, and then even for him, I think they didn't have a musical program in his high school when he went to high school. So he was really missing acting,
Mm.
although he goes out for auditions. So he switched to soccer in that season or whatever.
Soccer, acting, feeds the same need. But yeah, this was super fun. I hope more people get to enjoy it.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get it released. Otherwise, I may just throw it on YouTube in the end, which was the original plan anyway.
Yeah, get it out there.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it was fun seeing it. I hadn't seen it in a while, and then we added some scenes right before the pandemic. So
Hmm.
actually, I finished my final post last summer. So it was like quite a marathon.
Lengthy process. Yeah.
And then I watched it after like 6 months or something. So
What
that
was it
was
like watching it
fun.
after a while?
Oh, I could finally be objective because before every time I was like, oh, I need to change this and that. And that was still there, like, oh, there are one or two things, but I was like, all right,
Hmm.
ready to
Hmm.
pass it on.
It's so hard when you're in the weeds. You're like, I don't know,
Yeah.
what's this and what's what. You got to just step away for a while,
Yeah.
get a fresh perspective.
And like we weren't getting into festivals in the beginning, and then we ended up winning 13 awards. So it's like that gut, whatever that instinct was right, that it does relate to other communities and people do want to laugh. There's so much going on in the world right now.
Yeah, just keep going, right? But that's the lesson, really. You gotta just have a vision and then just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just get a crew together, like get people together that you jive with and create together. That's the way to
Yeah.
do it.
And also,
Otherwise, as an actor, you're just waiting for other people to validate you and keep
yeah.
it's hard. It's really hard and it eats away at the soul after a while.
Yeah. So how do you keep your like creative juices flowing?
The little time that I get to myself to do that, sometimes I'll just sit at the piano and just see what comes
Oh,
and
nice.
noodle around. Sometimes even just like forcing myself to do a vocal warm up.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot the sound of my voice when I sing.
Yeah.
Then I'll just pull out some sheet music and just sing. We have a music studio downstairs. I actually record a lot of Broadway albums down
Oh,
there.
nice.
And so I feel very fortunate to be able to just sit down at the piano down there and noodle away at odd
Yeah.
hours.
I also
Yeah,
got
yeah.
back to like piano in the pandemic. I was like, oh yeah, this was missing.
I want to hear you play piano.
Oh yeah. I was like one of those kids who used to compete at Carnegie Hall and stuff. And
What?
then I switched to pop music because I'd play these like
Oh,
intense classical things and people would be like, okay.
play for the masses.
Yeah. For the Zoom room.
Let's hear it, Shopa. Play for us.
Another time.
Yeah.
But that's one of the fun things about being part of a creative community is that you can just like hang out and sing or workshop a script or whatever it is.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing with like singing versus acting, right? Like I can just sing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can sing and it's like normal. But if I just start like acting, it's kind of like weird.
Maybe not in New York, but
Yeah, maybe not in New York. If I just like walk down the street just like acting to myself, I might just I might just get taken away to the loony bin or something. Like, what's happening? Or everyone will just avoid me in the block. Okay. But it's easier to tap into the music side. You really need a community to have an acting life, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. I think we've been really fortunate to have that community. The community was pretty small, and now I think it's definitely growing. There's a lot of people I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah, a lot of young. Oh my God, I went to see Pallavi and Kirtan. Do you know Pallavi and
Oh yeah,
Kirtana?
yeah.
They were in town, and Sastry sisters. They produced Land
Yes.
of Gold, and I guess they are friends with the girl that took over as Pi for Life of Pi,
Oh yeah, a bunch of people.
Uma.
Hmm.
And she was talking to this girl next to me about how she just graduated from her program and doesn't know the city that well. She's only been here like a couple months, and the girl was like, "Oh, so you're like a baby?" She's like, "I thought I was a baby. I went to these EPAs, and I thought I was like running late, and I was like, oh my God, sorry, like I don't." She's like, "I thought it was so obvious but now you make me feel like I'm a toddler," and I'm sitting there like, I guess I'm a grandma. She's talking about how she's like 5 years out of college. She's like talking about how she's like a couple of months out of college. And I'm like 22 years out of college. You know?
Yeah, a lot of people assume I'm like 27 or something. And I'm like, no, I've been around the block.
Right? Like we've been here a minute. Feeling it. I'm feeling it now. Like, but you look so great. You look so great. And I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah, and then a lot of these things like representation, like it's a lifelong, like when you're 21, you're like, oh, whatever, like in a couple of years, this will be the norm. And then years later, you're like, we're still like having these same panels and same discussions. Like you have to just
That's
make the work
true.
and like push it out there.
Yeah, no, that's true. We're having some of the same discussions, but I do feel like there's more content.
Yeah, there's way more content.
There's more content and there's more visibility now, which is different for sure. And some of that is because people before us in our generation, like, had these conversations and made the push and created the content. Um,
Right. Yeah, and people
yeah.
like Lily Singh were playing all the characters herself at home.
And now
Yeah.
multi-million billion empires. And that's a really nice thing to see that someone like that, someone like us, can be in the spotlight and be respected and visible.
Like people like to knock the system, but it's there, and so many people went through the system, so it took a few years to come out on the other end as showrunners or people who can make the creative decisions now.
Yeah,
And they have
yeah,
the polish of having gone through the writers' rooms or whatever it was before.
yeah. And you've been a producer at these big places as well, right?
Yeah.
You know, you're an OG.
Yeah.
A
It's a lot of work, but
lot of work. The change is happening slowly.
yeah.
So go out and see the Halloween.
Yeah, so you can order the Diwal'Oween for your home or your library or school or office. Thanks, Meetu. Any other final thoughts?
No, I'm just here for it, all of it. Here for it. And I'll see you guys on October 31st when we're trick-or-treating.
All right. Have fun.
Thanks, you too. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.